So good afternoon, I am Fraser Scott, I'm the Marketing Director at Microsoft, and thanks for taking the time out of your day to come along and spend a few hours with us today, learning all about the exciting things that Microsoft has to share with you today. So as Anne outlined, we're going to have a conversation about Windows, we're going to have a conversation around Office and how these things are coming together. But there's really three things I really want you to walk away with from today. Firstly, and probably dearest to my heart, understanding how technology, and particularly the technology we'll share with you today, is both driving and enabling what we're calling a modern workspace, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail in a moment, and that is changing the way in which we work. Secondly, consider or recommitting, if you've already considered this, your organisation to moving towards that modern workspace. And lastly, just get a little bit plain old and excited about what's coming from Microsoft now and over the coming months as well. So we call this event Reimagine. Why? Well, as I sort of outlined on my first point, we see the workplace being reimagined today. It's rapidly changing. The way we work is rapidly changing, both enabled and being driven by technology. And our role and your roles within that as partners to our end customers is changing as well. We see this as something of a reboot, as we like to say, of work. And in fact, the initial code name for Microsoft for this event was this. And I really loved it. I thought this is a really cool way. People will get it, Control, Alt, Delete, reboot, understand what that means. And then people said, Fraser, might have some other connotations to that, and people might not think it's such an exciting thing to talk about. But I sort of fought my case and said, no, we should call it this. And we compromised and did what the team said. So if you think this was a better name, you can come up and talk to me about it afterwards. But anyway, so what's Microsoft, where are we thinking about the world right now as it comes to technology? Well, what drives us is really our perspective in innovation, and our direction is changing as we go through this reimagining. As the industry is evolving, so is our company. The transformation of a world of devices and connected services through the cloud is well underway. We don't just go to work today, or we don't just go home. We're always on. We bing, we tweet, we check in, we Skype, we post, we tag, we like, and we engage in this way, whether we're at work, whether we're at home, or whether we're on the go. And as we transition to this always-on world of software and services of computing devices to all shapes and sizes, connecting to the cloud, we're focusing on delivering, Microsoft is focusing on delivering to our customers any information on any device, anywhere, at any time. And we're the only people in the world who can say that. Our software lights up PCs, Windows phones, Xboxes, connected entertainment system, to name but a few. And in some cases, we build our own hardware, as you've probably seen through the Xbox ecosystem and Kinect, and more recently through Surface, I should say. The Surface devices, which you'll hear more about from us in the future. But we also do, and the strength of our work is through this work that we do with our device partners, like you would have seen down on the first floor. And if you get an opportunity during the break, when you're going down there for the break, please go and spend some time with them, and you'll get a bit of a look into the way that the devices are evolving. You'll have seen stuff online, you'll probably touch some of them, but where we're going is a very compelling direction. And our software continues also to power business ecosystems as well through Windows Server, SQL Server, System Center, etc. And increasingly, it's through this interconnectedness of our devices and services, like Bing, Xbox Live, and Windows Store for consumers, that we really start to make a difference. When we think more broadly, so that's maybe the Microsoft direction, when we think more broadly about where the world is going today, we see these emerging trends that are really defining the way in which we think about business. Generally, these are standalone, but some of them are also highly connected. Cloud computing enables ubiquitous connectivity. It's also that really feeds into social as well. Some of these are really design point led, like natural user interface and machine learning, but a lot of them are really user-led experiences. And the data and the trends behind these is very compelling. I'm not going to sink into the details on the slide. You can certainly look at them, and I won't really touch on big data because that's probably an afternoon in itself to really get to grips with what that offers us. But what I can talk to you about is a few of the statistics relating to mobile, social, and cloud, and how that impacts the way that we think about this modern workspace. Interesting survey just came out recently from Randstad World of Work survey, and of the employees and employers surveyed in New Zealand, 90% of New Zealand employees, when surveyed, said that they were highly engaged and interested about more flexible employment options in their current or their next job. And what that means is things like working from home. 90% of employees said that they want working from home in their next career stage. Interestingly enough, only 13% of employers said that they were interested in extending more flexible working arrangements. So you can see a disconnection there. And when you think about the way that we recruit and retain for your industry, for your businesses and for your customers' industries, when we think about the way we recruit and retain employees, there's a bit of a disconnect there. And for any of you who have got Gen Ys working in your workforce or for your customers, you know that you don't attract them so much as they select you. And so there's a real step change going on in the way that we think about it. Interesting enough, around the 90% of employees that said they were interested about flexible employment, the big one there was really working from home. And yet of all the employers, 13% that said they were interested in doing some more flexibility, half of all employees surveyed said the reason that they were not looking at moving to work from home was technology barriers. So, how many people go to an office that looks like this every day? Well, this is the way in which we've perhaps worked in the past. And at Microsoft we did. When I joined 10 years ago, we had this thing called flexi time. You could work kind of the hours that you needed to work to get your job done, but you still primarily were desk bound. Today, these are some photos of Microsoft offices around the world, and right now we are gutting our Wellington office to replicate a look and feel much more like this. We don't do it because it looks good, we do it because this is the way we work. We get up in the morning, we may do email, we may not. We may go to the gym, we may go to a cafe, we may go to the office. But we can take our work with us anywhere and collaborate easily. And you'll see from the Windows 8 experiences and the Office productivity experiences and the communication experiences that we'll talk to you today about, much of which you already know, but perhaps in a way that you'll think about the way that you talk to your customers and the benefits that you can offer them in a different way. We see work as a state of mind. It's a thing that you do, not a place to which you go. So if you look at this blue box here, probably if you thought about Microsoft a few years ago, this is not a phrase that would have sprung to mind, but Gizmodo are not the only company saying this. Forbes and Business Insider are really refreshing this line as well and saying Microsoft is at a point in time right now where we are doing some really incredible things, and we are at the heart of the innovation in cloud computing, and we are really facilitating the move to the bring your own device motion that's underway. Because as we know, and we'll hopefully get you to understand today, if you deploy Windows PCs, laptops, tablets and phones across your organisations and across your customers' organisations, not only do you get the best productivity and best operating system technologies that we've ever done, you get to get the great management and security that your organisation needs and your customers' organisations needs, seamlessly across all devices. And that's of utmost importance to us. It's a busy time at Microsoft. This is our biggest year. These devices are a bit of an indication of the products that we're launching over this 12 months of our fiscal year. And it's interesting, from consumer products like Halo 4 to infrastructure products like Windows Server 2012, from Nike Connect to Internet Explorer 10, Windows Phone 8, which we announced on Monday, to the new Office, which we'll talk to you about today. And from products like Skype to Surface. The breadth of our Office is staggering. So I'm going to get off the stage now and hand over to Dean and Nathan, who are going to talk to you a little about Windows 8 and the reimagining that happens there. And as I do, I'll just ask you to think about these three things again. As you're going through this presentation and you see the technologies and you can understand how they can work for you and your customers, think about three things. Technology is changing the way we work now and going forward. Understand how it relates to your organisation, but most importantly as well, understand how it relates to your customers' organisations in the future. And thirdly, just get plain old excited about the technologies we've got coming to you today. Thank you very much.